So depending on what platform you are on, Fallout 4 received either a 2.5 gigabyte update or around an 80 megabyte update. The 2 to 2.5 gigabyte update was actually seen on Xbox One and PS4, and as you could probably guess, this is indicative of some new Creation Club releases. And also the 80 megabyte one on PC that also broke Fallout 4 script extender is also indicative of these new Creation Club releases. So you might be like, well, what's the deal with the big size discrepancy here? Well, more or less, if you guys don't know, on PS4 and Xbox One, users actually have to download all of the new releases from Creation Club. So hypothetically speaking, due to the discrepancy between PC and Xbox One/PS4, 2.4 gigabytes of content is coming in Creation Club somewhat soon. Now that might not be entirely true, you might be re-downloading files or there could be something with the packaging of it, but either way, the main takeaway here is this is actually a larger update than many of the previous ones, so we are likely seeing a big batch of Creation Club stuff. Who knows if this is all going to come out at the same time? It seems like Bethesda sometimes does that, but then other times doesn't do that and releases like smaller batches, but then maybe now they're going to switch back onto these larger releases where you get a ton of cool stuff all at once. Either way, the reason Fallout 4 script extender was actually broken is because the exe file for Fallout 4 was updated. What was changed? Well, I don't really know. We can tell that certain files were updated and things like that, but I actually can't tell you exactly what broke this or what new functionality is being added into the game. In the past, a lot of the reasons we actually saw Fallout 4 script extender breaking was due to the addition of like Paperboy paint jobs, regular armor paint jobs, weapon paint jobs, things like that actually ended up yielding that result, and this time it's not as clear as to what's causing this, but I imagine after everything's released, it might be a little bit more obvious. Either way, it should be fixed hopefully within the next 24 hours. They've been actually really good about getting it updated following these Creation Club releases. If you guys have been following the channel, you actually know that last week Bethesda teased some of the upcoming content in Creation Club for Fallout 4. That's going to make up the bulk of the content coming this week, and we actually do have screenshots and descriptions of all this new stuff coming. I made a full video on this, but more or less to kind of go over it quickly, there's a bunch of new Paperboy paint jobs. Actually, in your Fallout4.ccc file, we got like a stupid amount of new Paperboy paint jobs. In the sneak peek, they actually show off and name some of these, such as Grognak, Manta Man, Mistress of Mystery, the Inspector, and Silver Shroud, which they mention but don't actually picture here. Maybe in this batch of releases, we're only going to see those 5, and they are also all listed in the Fallout4.ccc file. But in addition, we actually get a few other ones, such as Arc, Vim, Riley, Rocket, Abra, Green, Yellow, Orange, Purple, Tan, Pink. So you can infer from a lot of these what they actually are going to be. Arc is probably ArcJet Systems, Vim, of course, the Drink, Riley's Rangers. Rocket isn't as clear, but it very well might just be like a spaceship. And then, of course, we had all those different colors, which are probably just going to be flat color customizations for your Pip-Boy. And we actually got something similar for power armor. Also in the Fallout4.ccc file, although not teased in their sneak peek, is going to be a bunch of different power armor skins. The ones listed currently are blue, green, yellow, orange, red, purple, tan, and pink. So pretty much all of the same colors as the Pip-Boy paint jobs. Maybe these will be 2 new bundles that we're actually seeing for those things. Again, although this was added to the file, none of this was actually teased, so I think it's pretty likely that we don't see this release just yet. Maybe it'll come in one of the future updates. One of the most exciting things we're actually expecting to get in this update is actually the Captain Cosmos, I guess, kind of quest and items added in with it. It's bringing some new power armors, a new regular armor, and a new weapon. This was actually added to the Fallout4.ccc file in a previous update, and I covered it then. It actually is going to be an ESM, which means it should be a larger file than some of the typical Creation Club releases, which is exciting. It's something we want to be seeing with this kind of stuff, and it also seems like it is done by Sovereign Walrus, who has obviously made a lot of really cool power armors in the past. And outside of that, the only other 2 things added to the Fallout4.ccc file is going to be Nuka.esl. This is going to probably correspond to the Nuka-Cola Collector Workshop, another thing that was teased, more or less adding in a ton of Nuka-Cola things so you could use them in workshop mode. They look pretty cool. That's not the stuff that's typically up my alley, but you know, if you like it, more power to you. And just in addition, some of the workshop packs we've seen through Creation Club in the past have been like really good bargains. And last but not least, we do have the Anti-Materiel Rifle, which again, we have seen images of, it was teased. But when things are added to the Fallout4.ccc file, you can actually see who the mod author is, or to an extent. So we do know now that the Anti-Materiel Rifle will be by Axis. For some of you, that's really exciting. For others, that might be really disappointing. I actually think that's going to be pretty cool. He's produced a lot of stuff kind of in that similar category for Fallout 4 already, and a lot of it is pretty fun to use. We haven't really seen too many weapons over the past few updates for Creation Club, so I'm curious as to the route they'll go with this one. Axis also made the handmade shotgun that was available on release, and although the weapon was kind of cool, the implementation of it into the game was awful. It was literally deposited into your inventory and had minimal customization options, which a huge selling point of Fallout 4 was the customization options. But I'm going to go out on a whim and say decisions like that are probably made more by Bethesda, or how large scale that mod's actually going to be. This considering that many of Axis's personal free mods have way more customizability than his Creation Club creations. I just feel weird calling them creations. Either way, I think for me and maybe a lot of you, this actually looks like one of the most promising updates coming to Creation Club. There's a lot more stuff and things in this one that I'll actually use. The power armor looks awesome. It's by Sovereign Walrus, who again has made a lot of cool power armors. And the Anti-Materiel Rifle looks like it could be really promising, and again, something that, if done correctly, I will genuinely use in my game. I would expect this stuff to get released probably later today, but if not today, earlier tomorrow. So I'm recording this the night before, and I'm really tired, so we're gonna have a fun fact, but it's gonna be a haphazard one. So I remember learning this in my one class. It's better to study in chunks, I guess was the way I should describe it. If you're studying for a test, let's say you have two tests, one is history, one is math, you should study for those intermingled. So let's say each day you spend a few hours studying for math and then a few hours studying for history. That's to say, as opposed to actually doing it in two distinctive chunks. Let's say the first 2 days you study only for math, and then the second 2 days you study only for history. If you do the intermingled method, where you actually dedicate a certain amount of hours each day to each subject, you actually do have better performance memory-wise over the long term. Cramming obviously does work in the short term. If you try and consume a ton of material in the 2 to 3 days leading up to a test, you will recall it for that test 2 to 3 days later. But over the long term, you actually have really bad memory for this. And I noticed this personally, even when I actually take my time and study a few hours each day among doing other things for tests, I've just realized I actually do remember that stuff from those classes much longer. I am just offhand naming this fun fact a year after I've taken this class. Because when I studied for that class, I would typically do some of the stuff we learned in class. Either way, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. As always, again, I thank you for watching. I obviously will have full coverage and all the CC stuff coming whenever it comes out, probably the following day, or I may actually live stream myself just experiencing it. But as always, again, I thank you for watching. I think I just said that, but I'll see you all next time. Later.